The other step in retouching is dodge and burn. Maybe you heard a lot of stories about dodge and burn, but it's fairly easy, and I will make it easy for you. Dodge and burn is simply speaking brightening or darkening the image. To even out the skin, you whether need to brighten some parts, especially the dark parts, for example, the one that exists after the spots, because spots give the shadows on the face, so these areas seems to be a little darker because the skin is not really flat texture. And some parts that are brightened, you need to darken. And working like this, you can even out the skin. Let me show you how does it look like. To do this, I'm using curves. So I need to create two curve layers. One will be dodge, so lighten or brighten, I'm not sure. I think lighten. I'm not really that, English is not my first language, but just was looking for a better word. And the other will be burn, so that will be darken. Okay, we have two curve layers, so dodge, lighten. I'm going to bring up the curve just a little bit, and it's now visible. I don't want this to visible, so I'm going to mask it, because if you mask things, everything on your adjustment layer, what is white, is visible on this image. Everything that will be dark, black, will be invisible. So I'm going to press Ctrl or Command and I to invert this. The effect that I created is now invisible. The same for burn, so darken. I'm going to drag it down to darken this a little, and I want it invisible as well, so I'm going to press Command or Ctrl and I. So these two effects are now invisible. Fairly enough, but I don't see what I have to do, right? You don't have the spots, you don't see the spots we have to brighten or darken. Simple way, use hue saturation layer. I'm going to call this the saturate. Take down saturation, so the image turn black and white, and change blending mode into color to don't really see the color, because you need to see just the lights, not the colors. So we're changing the blending mode into colors, and now we actually see a little bit better. I'm going to create one curve to increase the contrasts maybe, so the spots will be even better visible for me. Just darken this image a little. Okay, around that. So what we can see on this image, let me put this into one group, Ctrl or Command G, and I'm going to call this help layer. So this help layer allows us to see the dark and bright spots on the image. I'm going to create this empty layer, and what we have to do, see, we have some of these dark spots, and I'm going to paint with the red color. For example, over here, once again. Okay, now working. Over here we have dark spots, next to this we have bright spots. Here, I hope you see that here we have bright spot. Over here we have really, as you can see, here is bright, dark, etc. So over here, huge part. We have to, simply speaking, even out this. I'm going to remove this help layer. We can also adjust maybe a little better our dark layer, because we want everything to be visible really, even in the shadows. So you can manipulate with your curve layer to make everything well visible for your needs. I'm going to start with the burn, so I'm going to darken the parts of the image, and flow of the brush I'm going to set at 5%, not too low, not too high, just comfortable. and then you can simply paint on the bright spots. Now I believe maybe you cannot see the difference that it's making, but I'm going to show you just in a second when I paint on a few of these spots. So the bright parts need to paint over just a little bit. Once again, you don't press too hard, press very soft. Just remember, cover the spots that are uneven. On the using black and white layer, you can see how uneven is the skin. So what you need to do, you need to paint on that just to make it better. So I was just darkening some spots. Have a look before, after. I believe you can see the difference, and also on the forehead before, after. So that's how you do. And the same with brightening, with the dodging. You just paint on the spots that are too dark. And for outdoor image, I don't spend too much time because simply it's on the nature of the outdoor image. It doesn't really have that much texture visible. It doesn't have that many spots. Another thing is it meant to be natural. So also the brush size, as you can see, it's not very small. It's not like each pixel, but I'm looking for the bigger parts. I'm looking for these bigger spots that are darker or brighten. If you don't see any parts, you can turn off your help layer just to see everything better. Work with different settings. You can of course even brighten this up if you need to see more details in the shadows, as I need in this case. Also darken for some other parts if you need to work more on highlights, like here. I'm darkening this more, and that's how I paint, and that's how I will be working on all of the image. Also the lips, they tend to have some different lines, so paint on them, especially on the dark spots, just to even them out. And yeah, the result, I was thinking maybe I will have more, but on the outdoor image you don't have that many imperfections really on the natural light. So have a look before and after. Of course it works perfect for the eyeshadows, of course, because you don't want the model to look too tired. So give me a few minutes. I'm just going to make sure that I did right dodging and burning, and we'll be ready to move into the color grading. So as you can see, just a few more fixes and we will be ready.